India is just a melting pot for inspiration.
Yeah.
These trips shape our menus, our design, and I've been very much when we started, we were very much Mumbai based because that's where Will's roots are. But as we've developed our food, menus become more about regional diversity.
Rik, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Serve with Purpose. We are thrilled to be here, and Anna behind the bar, her favourite spot.
I love this bar so much, honestly. I mean, it's always a little bit hazy leaving, but the drinks are so good. I don't think we said earlier, it's like you come in and you're like, I'll just have 1 or 2.
And then you have 10.
And then you complete the menu.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know, it's so good.
No, I'm not sorry.
But I remember coming here when it first opened, like end of sort of 2021, September 2021, and there was just like 1 seat left. I was like, I was just on my own. I was just like, I just really wanted to experience it. And it was phenomenal. It was so good. And for me, it's just been that go-to sort of place. So yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit about, obviously you've got Kricket upstairs and, you know, this came after, but how, and I guess this could be for both of the venues, where was the starting point that you went, I want to do this concept for Kricket, or I want to do this for SOMA?
Well, SOMA came very much later than Kricket. The interesting thing about SOMA is that it, before we were here, was an old Japanese gentleman's club that we'd sort of been neighbours to for years, and we're sort of wondering what was going on next door. And then previous to that, from my understanding, it was a brothel. So it's got quite an interesting history. We always wanted a bar next to Kricket because Kricket is busy, which is great.
Yeah.
People often queuing virtually, and prior to SOMA, we're spending money in the local pub or the ham yard, and we kind of wanted to capture that audience. So it was ideal when the lady called me during COVID and asked if I wanted to buy it, and I said yes. So we opened in September 2021, and in some respects it's probably harder to get a table or a seat in here than it is next door. So
Yeah. It's a tight door policy. Obviously, you've made besties when it comes to
well,
no, it's true, and rightly so.
it's not a tight door policy. It's just predominantly walk-in.
Yeah.
So when you're busy, having walk-ins means that the seats aren't cold.
Yeah.
So we do take reservations for bigger groups and on certain days, but largely it's walk-in, which is if you've got the demand, is great.
Yeah. No, it's such a great concept as well. And I think it has a really nice sort of flow from Kricket without it being like, a really in-your-face sort of concept. It's subtle, and I think that's why people love it. It's very
Complimentary, isn't it?
The flavours are just beautiful, and there's that classic DNA of the cocktails, which I really love as well. Talking of cocktails, thank you for letting me behind the bar.
Hey, are you going to make us a little something to drink?
I am. I mean, I love a vodka martini. So just going to make something really, really sort of simple using Haku vodka and also this really, really gorgeous vault sort of aperitivo. It's like a coastal dry vermouth. So the salinity through it as well is really delicious. But this is also really nice on its own with a tonic or something like that. The quinine balances it. So if you want something slightly lighter.
A little lighter, because I have some questions to ask.
Okay. But they might get more interesting.
Shaken, stirred, what's the plan?
I'm going to go with stirred, but what if you have a preference?
I like martinis in all forms.
Okay, I'll go with it. Leave it with me. I'm going to you start asking the questions, and then maybe ask the same question after the martini and see if you want.
Oh no, good shout. So, I mean, we are here in SOMA, which is wonderful, and it feels like a complementary development to that Kricket brand.
Yeah.
So I would love to just reverse back to the beginning of Kricket.
Feels like a long time ago now.
I know. It will. 10 years, so we'll be celebrating.
Just past 10 years makes you feel old.
Yeah. Okay. You don't look it, and it's all going through. It's all the makeup. So if we go back to the beginning, at what point did this sort of, the beginnings and happenings of an idea, become something that you felt could do what it has done, which has become this really wonderful restaurant brand that came throughout your city, where it's innovative approach, great hospitality. But how did you jump from the small idea to the big picture, really?
I mean, well, it is a long story, but I started in finance, actually. So pre-Kricket, I used to work at Deloitte, corporate finance, and Will, my business partner, was a chef in London, trained under Roly Lee or in European cooking. We were friends at university. I'd always wanted to get into hospitality game. I was quite entrepreneurial at university as well. I used to run my own events business. So I left Deloitte and I was looking for something else to do. And actually, I thought it was going to be more in the drinks world.
Yeah.
I was really into cocktails. Speakeasy bar, still am. But I'd heard that Will was coming back from India, having spent 2 years in Mumbai, and knowing he was a very talented chef, thought that maybe we could do something together. So the idea, just not the idea, but we had a coffee in, I always remember we had a coffee in Gales in Portobello Road. Sort of discussed his ideas around wanting to use British produce, but the flavors of India, and I was kind of on board for whatever, to be honest, at the time. And so then that started with the pop-up in Brixton. We didn't really think much further than the end of our noses, really.
Yeah.
You don't really think about that. I'd just given up a pretty well-paid job in the city. It's going to open a 20-seater restaurant in Brixton, and we just got on with it. It was just, Will did the food, I served the guests, and being part of something like that Brixton, we don't really have to worry too much about everything else. It's not a bricks and mortar site like we're in now, or Kricket Center next door. So, we just got our heads down and worked ridiculous hours, made sure the food was good, and we looked after our guests, and then that escalated into bigger things, investment, and then starting with Kricket SOMA, which is our first bricks and mortar site.
Yes. Amazing. And you visited all of the restaurants coming here now, and we love the food. But if you touched on the investment, and that's something I'd love to chat with you about. So obviously for young entrepreneurs and people who've got those ideas, making that leap from a supper club or a pop-up, but into, real bricks and mortar in great locations in London. How was that transition for you, and how did you go about, funding that?
Yeah, well, I think our beginnings in a shipping container at Brixton were quite humble. To set something up like that, I think you spent about 50k.
Yeah.
It's nothing really. We got a bank loan for 25k and 12.5k in each. So, but definitely going from there to bricks and mortar, where you might need 500, 700 million quid. I mean, it's more and more every year.
Yeah.
Given the building and labour costs. But I think we had proof of concept in the shipping container. I think investors are much more willing to take a risk on that, and I think the combination of myself and Will, him being the chef, and I would say the IP, but me coming from a business background, without him we probably wouldn't have the products, but without me we might still be in a shipping container. So I think our proof of concept, and then the combination of myself and Will, made it an appealing investment. And we had a few offers, to be honest, from everything from guests, which I think actually becomes it's quite a common thing in hospitality, especially when you start out. I'm reading a book which we'll come to at the moment, of a restaurateur that regularly over the years has guests offer an investment. It's one thing offering it, and the next thing giving it, but it's pretty normal, I think. So we had lots of options, from guests to institution to family, etc. So, but we eventually went with White Rabbit Projects, who are an incubator for restaurant brands, and I mean, at the time it was just a one-man band, but now it's developed into a lot more. We were their first investment, so that helped us open Kricket Soho back in December 2016.
Wow, what a journey.
Yeah. And how do you build your teams? Because obviously this is like the big thing in hospitality, is like finding, everyone's like, it's so hard to find great staff.
I would say that's probably, staffing's always been a struggle in our industry.
Yeah.
But I would say it's probably, the after COVID there was a real difficulty, because wages were, everyone was desperate for staff. Staff were moving around quite a lot. Wages spiked. But I would say since then it's definitely not been on top of our troubles.
Yeah.
I would say. I think we built a really strong base from day one. I've got about 160 in the team, and I think 1 in 5 have been with us over 5 years.
Wow.
So we've got a strong base. The head office is pretty well established. Every single person in the head office, bar finance, has worked in the restaurants before. So
okay, so they've got that understanding.
Yeah, we've got that bond between the guys at the site, the teams at site, and then head office.
Yeah.
Our director of people was assistant manager of Kricket Center when it opened. So we've got a strong base. We look after our team. We just won I think it was small, medium times. I'd have to come back to the Sunday Times best place to work.
Yeah.
Can't remember which size. I think it might be small or medium. So
That's a lot of people, 160 people to go from like one site, say like, I don't know how many staff, 20, 30 staff to 160.
I mean, it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Obviously, the thought of that when we opened a shipping container, I can fathom it at all. I was working 90 hours a week for 2 months without a day off. And then I eventually handed the restaurant over to my brother so I could go on holiday for a bit. And I think, but you couldn't fathom that at the time.
Yeah.
Whereas now I will sit, sometimes at 8 o'clock around the dinner table with my wife on a Friday night. I think, my entire business is open right now and in the hands of great people, and I'm not worried.
That must have been quite hard to transition from being like, cheers, but sorry, this struggle, cheers. I know you normally drink gin.
No, I drink, like I said, I drink all types of vodka.
Yeah. But the thing about this vodka is because it's a rice vodka.
It's great. It's great vodka.
It's brilliant. I love it. And then this has a really nice kind of
delish.
How did you, like you say, went from being like in the thick of it, working 90 hours a week, and then to be able to sit back and kind of watch it? What was that turning point where it suddenly fell into place that you could comfortably take a step back from your business?
I think it changes. It changes all the time. Yeah. I've been in the game now, 10 years, and each year, even in the last 12 months, my role is changing, as well. So it's step by step, and again, it's all about people, and also what's the best use of your time.
Yeah.
Well, I miss working in a restaurant. So used to be one of my favorite things to do, especially next door at Kricket Soho, but it doesn't make sense for me to do that anymore. I might do occasionally, actually. I think I'm working at Kricket Soho on a Friday in a few weeks' time.
Love it. We'll be there.
I'll probably be a bit rusty, but it doesn't make sense in my time to do that anymore. Sadly. So your role evolves and changes over as with all businesses.
So I mean, through this series, we've met a few people who have moved from Susetti as one of them, who have come out in finance as well and moved into the realm.
There's a bit of that in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
So Gordon from Blacklock was a lawyer, I believe, before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
so I think they're passion-driven projects as well, aren't they? So obviously from finance into hospitality, I would love to know from you, are there a couple of key figures or people who have really helped shape your decision-making or the journey of cricket in your business? Those hospitality icons who have really inspired you on that way as you've transitioned from finance into the wonderful world of hospitality.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely figures within our industry that inspire me. I'm currently reading Keith McNally's book. I regret almost everything. I mean, it's just great. I don't want it to end.
Yeah.
I've followed him on Instagram for a long time.
Oh,
he's great. Comes from a working class background, and the sort of dynasty that he's built in New York. The passion and love for it over decades. His regular guests. It's great. And I think there's an ambition to if you want to be a restaurateur, I mean, he's almost one of the best. So
yeah.
He would be one. I mean, Jeremy King would be one. I think most people would say Jeremy's name.
So interesting.
When we did the Serve with Purpose at the park,
yes,
he was great. Every time I listen to him, it's so inspiring.
Yeah,
his passion for being on the floor and speaking to guests. How many times we walk into, not anymore, but Brasserie Adele, we opened here, him and Chris Corbin were two of the first people in the restaurant because they were intrigued what's going on. They came over. So, and you can see him all the time walking around the restaurants. His passion for his team and culture and the guests. So, and then I'm always inspired by Paolo, who we're doing our panel with at Cricket Shoreditch next week. Paolo Di Tarso. He's I call him the maestro. Yeah. He is Mr. Hospitality. Passion is next level.
Yeah.
You'll see that next week. But every time, again, he did a TED talk a few years ago. But when he speaks about service and hospitality, and it's hard not to be inspired. So yeah, I would probably say those three come to mind.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I think hospitality, it's one of those things that can apply to everything, like all areas of life, no matter what industry like you're in.
I mean, I love hosting just in general. One of the reasons I think I fell into hospitality is because of the events business I did at uni. I just love I've always been the person that organizes everything for my friends. I love hosting, I love organizing, and it's not just on a restaurant level, but it's at home, it's with friends. I think it's that passion for like looking after people.
Yeah.
And just, what sometimes I think, what do we all work for? And we worked really to go eating and drinking with our friends and family.
Yeah.
Time,
I love that. Like, why?
What we do.
Like, why do we do what we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I think it's sometimes you get really like stuck into like maybe a process or sort, which are really important things about the business, but then take a step back and be like, why do we do what we do?
Yeah.
And I
just
think
making people happy.
Yeah. And I think that's like, that motivation. Like my motivation was always like, I want to help people.
Yeah.
Not because I'm necessarily a people pleaser, but I'm a millennial and it's what we like to sort of do, but it goes bigger picture, like how can we make that difference and that impact, I think, on somebody as well, which I think is really, really key.
I think actually it's very addictive.
Yeah.
Actually, in the hospitality industry, very hard to leave it.
Sure.
I'm sure a lot of people say that about their own industries. But
Yeah. But where do you think, obviously, over the last 10 years, things have changed so much. Obviously, COVID, new generations coming in and everything. What do you think is next? Obviously, I'm hoping that things will sort of settle. I know obviously challenges at the moment with tax and everything, but what would you say if you're looking at maybe pinpointing a couple of things, like what's next in hospitality? What would you?
For me personally, or just generally?
Well, generally both.
Yeah,
for you personally.
it's definitely a very difficult operating environment. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think probably one of the most difficult. Like I said, not so much about staff shortages, actually, staff costs.
Yes.
But I just think the cost of everything and inflation is, making it more and more difficult to operate. I think I read a stat the other day that a third of hospitality businesses don't make any money.
Yeah.
Sort of wonder why
Yeah.
you're working for, what you're working for. Just a lot of instances, businesses are paying more tax to the government than they're making profit-wise.
Yeah. It's
So some real challenges ahead, I think. But hospitality is all about consistency as well.
Yeah.
And you're only as good as your last dish. And it's about being consistent. I feel that's probably one of the reasons why cricket is still here. We we're be successful everywhere. We closed White City in December last year.
Yeah.
That was a first for us. But we serve good food at a reasonable price. We have great service. We design beautiful restaurants, and we're consistent about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what if you want to be in this industry long term, I think that's what you have to do, and you have to be passionate about it, and you have to live and breathe it. And a lot of the time, people that want to own a restaurant, they don't really know, how much dedication it takes. It's very easy to say that, and also to take that leap of faith. So I'm leaving a job in finance.
Totally. So with all of that in mind, with current climate, with things maybe potentially being a bit more grim before they get better, but also the business has had wonderful growth in 10 years. So it's staying true to the identity and values that cricket has always championed. But how often does innovation feature in your model? And in terms of the way you run your team, not just from a food kind of point of view, but obviously we're all going to have to evolve because everything is changing around us. So at what point do you sort of say we build something that is incredible, excellent, that people love and we love, but how do you tweak that without obsessing, your client base, I guess?
Yeah, it's not just clients, is it? It's also the team.
Yeah.
Shift patterns, for example, have changed dramatically since COVID. We've had to make some big strategic and commercial decisions around contracts recently that actually I thought we were going to get more pushback from, but we didn't. But, not everyone is happy when you make decisions, but you have to for the longevity of the business. Otherwise, people are not going to have a job. So, tough decisions are all part of running a business. And I think you've got to evolve. I think there's Nuno Mendes said, innovate or die.
Yeah.
It was him. And so, same around the food. As we've expanded, especially when we went to Canary Wharf, we got a different demographic. We've got a lot of kickback, and it's quite hard to take.
Really?
Yeah, because different demographic want different things, and when you're not just one site restaurant, you kind of do what you want.
Yeah.
But as you start to expand and hit different demographics, people have different demands, and whether you like it or not, that's just a simple fact. So we've evolved the menu. We've evolved the design. Each restaurant now we design differently because people want an experience. They actually want the same food. They want to come in and eat the same food a lot of the time.
Yeah.
They want to eat in a different environment, especially social media, etc. So you have to evolve, whether it's for the food, design, even service.
Yeah. What's been the hardest thing over the last 10 years?
Oh God.
We said the trees as well.
Yes. She's drinking the martini.
The whole tree.
Yeah. Whether it's a personal thing or a professional thing of running your own business.
I think it's just I don't struggle to stay motivated, but I can see how people would do when you get things like COVID, you get things like Brexit, the impact of strikes that we're in today. You know, you're working so hard already.
Yeah.
And these are big, big events that make things harder. So I don't personally struggle to stay motivated, but I can see how people can do. But what was the question again?
I was just asking about. Do you know, I've forgotten myself.
I was like, what's the hardest thing over the last 10 years? Yeah, guys, my question.
I'm trying to think of like one outstanding thing, but I'll just say generally, there's always a curve every year. I would say it doesn't feel like I don't think we've had the good times since 2019. And I think we're in 2025 now, 6 years on. You're sort of thinking, when are the good times again? I mean, when I say the good time, I'm having a good time, but commercially it could be better.
And that's better, isn't it?
And like from a personal side, did you feel because I think when you're doing your own thing, you go from maybe like the comfort, like you said, of being in finance, like having regular paychecks, holiday, all of this sort of stuff, to suddenly being like, is it going to work out?
I know,
How did you
being an entrepreneur, isn't it?
How did you deal with that? And you, because I bet there's so many people wanting either to start their own business, open their own bar. What sort of advice or
Well, you have to take a risk, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not always. Not everyone's. I mean, I did sort of take a risk. I was in a sort of semi-fortunate position, so I bought a house with a couple of friends when I moved to London. And this was back in 2010, so the market was very different then. You could afford to do that 10% deposit with 3 salaries on the mortgage, so it wasn't. It was achievable, and we did quite well out of that. And then when we sold that, I had some money in the bank, which enabled me to leave my 60 grand a year job in the city and go and open a pop-up restaurant where I was paying myself nothing. And sweeping the floor and mopping and wiping tables and serving guests. And obviously, when I told my parents I was going to do that, they were like, "No, you're not." And now they're like, "My son owns 4 restaurants, 2 bars, etc." So, which you understand, you get it. But I think everyone wants. The amount of people over the years that have told me, "Oh, they really want to do this," and you see them like a year later, 2 years later, they're still doing the same thing they were. It's hard because you have security and other jobs. And obviously, the older you get, kids, etc., it's harder to take that risk. But ultimately, if you want to be an entrepreneur or do anything, especially in this industry, everything's a risk.
So, I mean, that in mind, it's always really fascinating because when you are taking that risk and you are bringing an idea to life, in that journey, did you have many mentors to help you navigate that way? Because it is big risk taking, and obviously there is a financial element you're fairly well versed in. But in the hospitality space, did you, or in this 10-year journey, have you found mentors to help you navigate this way, or are you and Will bouncing off each other as you go?
Definitely. I mean, look, mentors and advice are often free. Especially in our industry, everyone's very willing to help. One of the people I spoke to very early was Will from Hawksmoor. I remember going to Hawksmoor in Liverpool Street, the original one, and sitting there and talking to him. I must have been 26. I don't know how much older he is than me. Maybe he was probably my age now or something. So, and I'm actually starting to see that now from my people coming to me. Phil, it's quite complimentary in some ways, but people coming to me for advice. Advice is free, isn't it? Mentorship is free, and I think you can't get enough of that from people who have experience, because you can't get experience overnight. So, over the years, I've definitely put myself out there at events and industry events and conferences or whatever it might be to meet people and take advice, and still do.
I think your network is so important. It's so important. Just because I also think people think mentorship has to be this big thing and you sign up to this program, but actually, like you said, it's just sometimes a conversation over a bar. To be like,
exactly.
I met somebody the other day. I said, I just want to sense check, like, this is how I do this. I was like, how do you do it? They're like, oh no, I do it the same way, but I do this. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm not an idiot. Like, and then it's just maybe those little nuances, I think, that actually give you that maybe confidence then to make that next decision.
But also sometimes, when you're doing, you can just have tunnel vision, don't you? In any job. So it's nice to just bounce ideas off people, like you said, even if it's just to reassure yourself that you're doing the right thing. But I don't think you can network enough. to be honest.
Yeah.
They're always learning.
So with technology as well, people, it's easier to hide behind that a little bit. And social media is amazing and it is great. And AI is great as well. I've never seen people use so many like Oxford commas after, before like the hand. I'm just like, this never was a thing, but AI does this. But technology is amazing. But I think that human interaction in life, like you're not going to get that same experience sitting across a dinner table or a bar with somebody on social media.
I mean, I'm pretty convinced that our industry is going to be quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Not so susceptible to AI as others. Yeah, you're not totally immune, but people want to be served by a
I think
feeling.
that's fair.
Maybe not all in restaurants, but certainly at our sort of restaurant, we want to use tech and AI in the back end as much as possible where it makes sense.
Yeah.
But in the front end, we want it largely tech free.
Yeah. And
always maintain that, and I don't think that'll change.
That's what you can do. That's what I think with AI and technology. If you can take away like these like rotors, there's all the things that take up the headspace and take up the time for somebody that maybe isn't good at a rotor because that's just not their skill set. When I look at processes in a lot of places, I'm like, nothing's changed for 15 years.
I know.
Why are we still?
We are quite behind. I mean, I think things have definitely evolved a lot over the last few years, but we seem to be one of those industries that adopts technology last.
But actually, it's like you could really use this to your advantage.
Yeah, we could, because what's the ultimate reason for being on hospitality is to be on foot on an office doing a rota. So and I think the bigger you get, the more of that happens. The more head officey becomes, and it's still trying to find that balance where you're not sort of loading your team with administrative tasks.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And it's the personability. That's what keeps us coming back to restaurants.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's the people, the interaction with the person who is serving you, looking after you, the story that you're being told, and that kind of magic that happens that can never be replicated by a computer. But obviously, Kricket, Indian food, there is an element of travel to your R&D, to your innovation, and to the journey. And I would just love to hear more about how these travels shape the direction of the business. What you do with that inspiration, really.
Yeah. So interesting fact, I'd actually never been to India when we opened Kricket. Not sure that's something people should know, but no, because it was like I said before. Will lived in Mumbai for 2 years, and the inspiration for doing Indian food came from here. And it all happened pretty quickly. And I remember it got to a point where so many guests were asking me how my time in India was. I was like,
It was really good.
They knew that one of the founders had been there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't me. So I think after about 4 months of opening, I said, well, we really need to go. So once we found some time, we did that, and now we go probably once a year. Will a little bit more. We've taken many of the team out over the years. January last year, we did a week in Mumbai with 14 of the team.
Amazing.
We did a pop-up out there with Back Street Kitchen guys. We did some farm to table stuff. We went to see our charities. It was just great. And then more recently, I just got back actually yesterday or the day before from 4 days in Jodhpur and 2 days in Delhi, all on a design trip with our designer and architect for inspiration for the next place. So we do these trips shape our menus, our design, and I've been very much when we started we were very much Mumbai based because that's where Will's roots are, but as we've developed our food menus become more about regional diversity.
Sure. And from a design side, what sort of thing were you looking for? And where were you going? It was different bars, restaurants, but I'd love to hear that sort of process.
This was less food and drink and more about architecture and design. So the Havelis and the waterworks of Jodhpur, the gardens, etc. So we've got a beautiful space coming in Covent Garden early next year, and that's going to form sort of the inspiration for that. And then Kricket Shoreditch was based on Jaipur, hence the sort of pink colour scheme. So yes, I mean, India is just a melting pot for inspiration. So I think, as I touched on earlier, people want to come for an experience now. There's so much about it, like the environment you're in. It kind of always has been, but now more so than ever. And so I don't think we've ever thought harder about how we design our restaurants than we have now. So
yeah. I mean, the bar's beautifully designed. Behind bars, right?
We have behind bars at the bar, and the designers, our friends are called Cake Architecture.
Amazing.
And I think I said to you earlier, obviously we always try to design something great, but this was much even better than we thought it would be.
Yeah. It's been really fascinating through this journey to speak to people as to how all of these things, I think often people look at hospitality in a very black and white way, don't they? So it's a restaurant space, serving food and drink, and that's the opera. But all of these nuances, you know, the design element, architecture, and the way you interpret and translate your travel inspiration into what the guest experience is. There are a great number of things that are considered that help build that cricket identity, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think if you want longevity, you have to. You know, so you're not a fad that dies off over 2 years. I don't know what the stat is again in terms of how many restaurants make it past 2 years, but it's pretty dreadful.
Yeah.
And I think if you want longevity, then you've got to have that story behind it, and you've got to think about it.
Yeah.
And you've got to build like robust, durable bars like this that won't move for years.
And I think also, like you were saying earlier, it's the whole concept of like a third space, right? You have your home, you have your work, and then you have something, whatever that could be. But I think that's, for me, the direction of like restaurants, bars are how they should be thinking. Like it goes beyond, you know, the actual function of it, but that third space that people go to. And I think that's kind of what you've done, I think, with your places. It goes beyond just getting a meal. Like part of that experience.
Yeah.
Which is,
and like I say, it's evolved. You know, it's constantly evolving. And in terms of my role and stuff, more and more is spent on the new fun stuff.
Yeah. And if you could like open, I know obviously you've got the opening in Covent Garden, which is going to be really exciting. But if you could open anything in like time, money, and circumstance, there's no object, and it could be anything, what would it be?
Oh, what not cricket?
Could be anything.
Oh, I've got a real urge at the moment to open a jazz club, actually.
Oh, okay. Goodness.
Yeah.
I think
like where, like what?
Oh, obviously Central London or New York. I think that's we're actually doing a pop-up in New York in 4 weeks.
Okay. Let us know details.
We'll be there.
But yeah, that's I think again reading Keith's book.
Yeah.
I love cricket obviously, but I've definitely got a passion to do things outside of cricket at some point. You know, I've always got ideas going, and so yeah. But at the moment, it's like I think it was a French jazz club or something like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. That would be so. I mean,
Sounds
it'd be
quite
great,
rich,
but
it does sound quite sounds delicious. Sounds like it's really
fun. That would be so cool, and especially in New York as well. I think.
Yeah, there's a jazz club in New York called Smalls.
Okay.
And it's probably not smaller than here, and it's a great experience. If you just about get in, you're like last one in. You just stand on the step as you go down, barely move. But that's what all about jazz clubs are about, I think.
Yeah, that's really. And apart from London, what other city in the world do you think are doing great things at the moment?
I get the impression Paris is quite hot right now.
Yeah.
We're actually doing a SOMA pop-up in Paris next month at the Cambridge.
Yeah, that's great bars.
Yeah, it's top 50, isn't it?
Yeah, they always do great things.
Yeah, I'm going out actually. So I think Paris, because I think Paris has always been traditionally just like French restaurants. And it seems like they're broadening out a little bit. So we'd love to do something in Paris. Easy to get there as well.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Amsterdam. The food scene there is okay. I mean, I love the people. I spent a lot of time there. Got a lot of Dutch friends there. I think there's nothing like cricket there, so I think we can do really well. We picked up Cricket Soho and dropped in Amsterdam. I think it would do very well. But yeah, I think cricket would do quite well in a number of cosmopolitan cities, but the big ones are London and New York.
Yeah.
No matter how hard the operating environment is, I think those are London, New York, Paris.
Yeah, I think
capitals.
They truly kind of lead a lot of things. Not saying they're the best cities in the world, but I think in terms of innovation, diversity, opportunity. You know, New York, I always say it's got that aggressive hospitality. Yeah. And I mean that in a positive way. It's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Whereas London, it's so cosmopolitan. It's got the history, it's got everything. And but I think, you know, if you could have that trio, that would be so cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
So I just want to touch on that because actually taking the brand, there's this beautiful identity. There's obviously room for you creatively as a co-founder to explore French Jazz Club, Paris, New York. But is collaboration a really important part of your approach to driving innovation?
Collaboration with who? particular people, or
I guess you brushed on there's architecture that you acknowledge, there's arts, there's current, the energies in different cities, there's music. But is that a route that you think they'll perhaps explore?
I think we have multiple opportunities to do collaborations. It's just about finding the ones that make sense. I think when you start out yourself, you would jump at all these things, and then as you grow up and mature and realize there are sort of bigger things to focus on, you choose the ones that make sense. But I mean, collaboration, working environment is really important. And I wouldn't really will this pop up in New York? We're collaborating with a restaurant out there, a bar in Paris. It might for various brands, etc. So we're constantly collaborating, if you want to say.
Love. And I really I love your restaurants. I want to know what you order when you come in.
Always the new stuff.
Is it really?
Yeah, we change the menu quarterly.
Okay.
So tends to be always the new stuff.
Okay.
Or unless I'm with someone who really wants the fried chicken or some fried pakora. But because I think how many times have I eaten that? But occasionally.
Okay, got it. Do you ever order off
specific? No, I throw in the curveball occasionally. We do this thali at the moment, which is all you have to do is choose me or veg. And I want half and half, please. But
right.
But that's one sales particularly off menu. But no, I mean,
next time.
I think you could be a tricky customer when there's co-founder.
I'm not. But it's like I just want to be served like every other customer, and often doesn't always happen because I'm the founder. But I'd rather just be treated the same. In fact, what I like to do is be kicked out of my own restaurant because they're too busy. That's a
that's dream.
Is that the rule that you have?
Scenario.
Yeah, sometimes. But in the early days when we didn't have an office, I'd work on the bar in Soho, and then occasionally get kicked off by the team because we're too busy. I'm like, yes.
That's a good problem. That's it. And apart from obviously eating in your own restaurants in London, where else do you like to eat and drink?
I mean, it often depends on feeling and seasonal. But right now, having just had a conversation with a friend of mine who works in wine, I'm really need to get back to Quality Chop House soon. It's grouse season as well, so that's one of my favorite restaurants. So consistent, and I like the guys behind Perilla and Morcella.
Yeah,
Perilla's one of my locals. Love all the guys who are fallow.
Yeah.
There's all and then all spring to mind. I love the guys behind Smoking Goat and Kiln and Mounting.
Yeah.
Just consistent, and also I'm probably the restaurant I go the most is actually Boca.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's around the corner. They're open a little half an hour later than us. I love stroll back sometimes late from the office. I always go on my own and I sit there and I sit at the counter for ages.
Yeah, love that. Solo dining, I think, is the best.
I love it.
It's on just Jalupo across the way.
I know, and then I go have a little ice cream, a little coffee afterwards, and all of a sudden it's like 11 o'clock on my crate.
Yeah.
So you mentioned consistency, so I'm going to take that will be one of your 3 things. If I asked you what makes a great restaurant, can you give me 3?
Oh,
3 things.
You can have consistency if you would like.
Because it's it's consistency in everything, but definitely consistency in the food, isn't it? Like I said, you're only as good as your last dish. Ambience, lighting. Often we build these like beautiful restaurants and we fail with the last 2%.
Yeah.
Which is like getting the light settings right and also acoustics. Yeah, it took me I built 3 restaurants before I realised the importance of acoustics, and having to do everything retrospectively is not great.
It's really.
I always remember in Cricket Soho, in like the first few weeks, Nick Jones came in and he was downstairs at one of the tables and we were rammed, and it was so loud down there. We didn't have any acoustic paneling. It's just all wooden tables and wooden floors, and I knew it was loud. There were a few elderly couples who were leaving because they couldn't hear each other. And Nick came up the stairs, and obviously you've been there. It's tiny. You can see if there's anywhere else to sit. So he obviously knew. He was like, "Come say, Rik, yes, is there anywhere else we can sit? It's too loud down there." And I was like, obviously knowing full well there was nowhere. And I was like, I'm really sorry there isn't. Anyway, I was like, literally the next day, I was like, we need to sort this out now.
Yeah.
So I've learnt the hard way on acoustics and lighting, but now so important. No point building beautiful spaces if you don't have great ambiance.
Yeah, no, lighting is so key. I think Jeremy King said lighting is not about the light, it's about the shadows it creates. When he said that, I was just like, that was like the panel.
Yeah.
I was just like,
and also
that's so true though.
Movement as well. One of the things he said in another event that I went to was having things moving in an empty room. So you walk into an empty room, there's nothing moving. So that's why they love fans. Put fans in the Cricket Shoreditch because, especially in the morning at 8 o'clock, at breakfast, it's a bit quieter. Your work is like a dead room.
Yeah.
So like movement on top of ambiance. And then obviously like service, So we've got to a point now where if the food is average but the service is great, you'll go back.
Yeah.
But I think everyone says this now, but it's so true.
Yeah.
But if the food is great, but your server is miserable or it's just average service, you're not so tempted. I think it's Danny Mayer said, hospitality cannot flow from a monologue. And so you've got to have a passion and it's yeah. So I think that sort of that service element is so important these days. Always has been.
I think, does that bring us to our question, which is the final question?
What's the final question?
Just what does serve with purpose mean to you?
The question, I've sort of just, I probably should have used what I just said in this answer, but I think it's passion, isn't it? Paolo always says, hospitality is about how you make someone feel. So serving with purpose, how do you make someone feel? It's the passion. Not every interaction with a guest should be the same. It should be personal and passionate and with purpose. I honestly think if you are like that with every single guest, you will never, ever have a problem with anyone.
Yeah.
So,
love that.
So.
Such a lovely closing. Oh, thanks, Michael. Really amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been amazing to learn all about cricket.
Thanks for having me, and great to host you in SOMA.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.